From the Cromford Report, Tina Tamboer joins us. Tina, it's good to talk with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This idea that the Trump administration says is coming is a 50-year mortgage, which sounded kind of crazy to me, that's a long time for a mortgage. Is this simply about being able to drive down monthly payments by extending the loan out 20 years longer than a 30-year mortgage?
Yeah, I think that was the intention of the idea, and it's really just an idea. Just for the record, it has not been implemented. I haven't seen anybody offering one at this point, but the first reactions have been pretty negative to that idea of extending debt. And the main reason is many people move after about 3 to 5 years. They might expect to say, okay, I've paid my loan down enough to be able to pay for the expenses of selling my home and moving into another one. But this type of loan severely restricts the equity buildup necessary to be able to sell your home and pay for all of the expenses just in a short time frame. So generally speaking, it's a short-term gain for a long-term pain at this point.
But is this the desperation that people are feeling in not being able to come up with a down payment or qualifying for a 30-year mortgage to make the payment on a mortgage?
Well, and I'm not sure about the measurements of desperation at this point, because we are actually seeing a pretty good fourth quarter for the number of contracts we're seeing. We're having the best fourth quarter we've had in about 3 years. We're outperforming 2022, 23, and 24 in fourth quarter contract activity just from the mortgage rates coming down. So when you're looking at affordability, there are many aspects of it. First of all, you've got your incomes, you have the cost of the home, you have the cost of the loan. And so what they're trying to do is now take the term of the loan and see if they can have a short-term gain on affordability now. But the issue is, in the long run for the borrower, it is not good for equity buildup. Just for example, if you take a $400,000 mortgage and after, say, 5 years, you've paid down that mortgage $15,000. If you have a 50-year mortgage, you've only paid that down $4,000.
Oh, wow.
So it's so in the long run, it's not very good for the borrower to do that. We'd rather see things like incomes come up, and maybe prices are already coming down. We've been seeing price adjustments over the last 4 to 5 months. If we just let the market do what it's supposed to do over time and don't get impatient, then what you see is it will correct itself without any kind of manipulation like that.
In the mindset of people that are looking at mortgage rates, I have a rental home that I was living in originally. When I bought that home, I paid a little over 6% in the mortgage, and I didn't even bat an eye about it. But a few years later, I was able to refinance at 3%. So now when I moved into my next home, it's back at 6%, which I was willing to do. But for a lot of people, they're not going to give up a 3% mortgage for something. What is that number? Is it below 6% when people really start to move again? What is it that changes people's mind into being the right time to sell and buy the next home?
Well, a lot of times it just has to do with their personal situation. Sometimes they don't choose the time chooses them, right? And so I'd say we're seeing increased demand just below 6.5%. I think that we would have a lot more demand even if we just dipped below 6. There's something mentally about having a sub 6% rate that makes people feel like they won. Even if it's only $10 on their principal and interest payment, they're like, I have a 5 handle on that.
Right.
You know?
Do you look at what do you anticipate the continued downward trend of interest rates going into next year?
Well, I do not try to predict rates. I let other people be wrong about that. A lot of people have been wrong about where rates are going. For me, the only rate that matters is the one we have. And like I said, we have seen over the last 5 years, definitely seeing those incomes rising, and that helps our affordability. So little by little, we have seen the wage growth faster than the rate of inflation, slightly above that. And so that means little by little, people are feeling a little bit better over time and more able to save and more able to get into home ownership. And at the same time, we have seen since 2022, rents have actually been coming down as well. So that's easing up, especially in Maricopa County. We've seen, probably a good $200 difference between the peak of 2022 and today in terms of what apartment rents are going for. So there's a lot of things. And for me, it's about patience. The housing market is such a slow moving beast. We are not like the stock market or the cryptocurrency markets. Those are like speedboats. They can turn on a dime. We're like a big old container ship. You turn that wheel and it just takes a long time to start seeing the results of that. So my advice is patience. And I know a lot of people would like to see us hurry up and recover already.
Yeah, I'm in the side. Look at the same thing. There was a time when I was looking to buy a home where you looked at a home and within 10 minutes you make a decision and you have to bid because there's 85 people waiting right behind you. So it did change, and waiting for it to change back. Hopefully not that hot of a market, but the old adage, you marry the home, you date the rate. Is that accurate? Do you believe in that mantra?
Well, yes, in a sense.
Okay.
I mean, you always go with what you can afford and what you need at the time. And knowing that over time, there are often opportunities for you to lower that payment. And again, going back to that 50-year versus the 30-year mortgage, it puts you in a much better position to refinance your mortgage if you have paid down more on your debt. So the 50-year mortgage is generally not good for the future of these buyers if they do want to refinance their debt at, just rolling over their existing balance. The lower that balance is, the better it is for them to reduce their monthly housing expenses and pay down the debt even faster. So that to me is it's a combination of paying down on your debt, appreciation of homes, and that puts this investment in a good position for many borrowers. But this particular suggestion, and that's all it is a suggestion at this stage, is not good for the long-term viability of that investment.
Do you believe that there will be lenders, if this does come to fruition, will there be lenders anxious to do this?
Of course.
Yeah.
Because in the end, people don't buy the home for that price. They are always buying a payment. And so if you can get them in and they see the payment and it works for them, then that will increase the demand. So like I said, it would be a short-term gain, but the long-term is not good. It's a long-term pain on that, because then when they try to go back and refinance, maybe they don't have enough equity built up at that stage. Maybe they can't even sell it and move into another one because they just haven't built up enough equity to pay for their expenses. And in this environment that we've seen over the last 4 years, we do not have a lot of appreciation of homes. We've been very stagnant. The year-over-year appreciation for home values right now is about 0%.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that. So in that sense of the word, you really need to be able to pay down your debt in order to have the equity buildup necessary to move on when you're ready.
If you would, for the people that are not familiar with the Cromford Report, will you tell them what you do and where they can find you? Because the information that you have for people is pretty remarkable.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes. So the Cromford Report, we are data analysts. We're just here in Maricopa and Pinal County, and we are proprietary for the real estate agent members of the Arizona Regional MLS. And so we analyze all of that data every single day, and we can provide good data so that you can make good decisions on your home purchases through your professionals that you use.
I appreciate the time today, and I hope you'll come back, because this is going to be a topic. Obviously, we're going to continue to talk about it no matter what happens with rates. I would love to get more word from you on what's happening in these markets.
Yes, thank you so much. All
right, that is Tina Tamboer joining us for a few moments from the Cromford Report.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.